Hello and welcome. I am Amit Mishra, and in this video I have brought an important topic in front of you. The name of the topic is rising military spending. So what will be its effects all across the world? We will definitely look in the video, but before sharing anything, I will like to tell you that I have decided this topic into 3 to 4 heads. I will first tell you why is the topic in news. Secondly, I will tell you what has been the history in relation to military spending. Thirdly, I will tell you who are the biggest spenders on military. Fourth, I will tell you what are the other sectors which remain unnoticed when it comes to military spending. Further, I will tell you what is the position of United Nations in relation to its own spending. And last but by no means least, we will look at India's position in relation to military expenditure. So let me start the video. My dear friends, NATO has recently concluded a summit in the month of June, and into that summit it was decided that it will increase its military spending from 2% to 5%. So this is the main reason why we are looking at the topic. Now, looking at the history of military spending, you will find as per CIPRI, CIPRI stands for a Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. As per this institute, the year 2024 saw 9.1% increase in its military spending all across the world. And the reason behind 9.1% increase in military spending worldwide is Russia-Ukraine war, Gaza-Israel conflict, again Israel-Iran conflict, and recently India-Pakistan conflict. So these are the conflicts all across the world, which has resulted into 9.1% increase of military spending all across the world. This is the data that has been given by CIPRI, that is a Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. Now again, looking deep into the history of military spending, you will find the year 1960, the decade of 1960s was that decade which witnessed Cold War. So in the initial years of Cold War, it was around 6 point something percent. But when USSR was disintegrated, then because of its disintegration, the global spending over military came down from 6% to 2%. It means world started gaining profit in other sectors because USSR was disintegrated. This is the reason why the war between two countries, the war between two superpowers ended. So when the bipolar world ended in the year 1991 because of disintegration of USSR, the whole world shifted its mood, shifted its momentum towards spending in other sectors apart from spending in single sector, that is military. So this is the history. If I mention one data of the year 1998, then I can tell you that it was around 2.1%. It means military spending in the year 1998 was around 2.1%, but in the year 1960s it was around 6.1%. It means when Cold War started, the countries all across the world have started spending a lot on its military or in the defense sector. But when it ended, world changed its momentum. What is the link? I will tell you definitely in other section. So this is the history in relation to global spending. Moving further, who are the biggest investors? US stands at number one. US spends around $1,000 billion on its military, followed by Russia. China. China spends around $300 billion, followed by Russia, which spends around $149 billion. Then Germany. Then comes India. These are the five biggest investors all across the world. These are the five biggest spenders on military expenditure. Now moving further in terms of percentage, if I tell you data in relation to percentage, then Saudi Arabia comes first. It spends around 7.3% of its GDP. Then it is followed by Poland, and then comes USA. And apart from these three countries, in terms of percentage, rest of the countries remain from 2.1% to 2.5%. This is the data in relation to percentage. I mean percentage wise data I showed you. Now other sectors are spending. So I was telling you that when we were having Cold War, it means when we were in the initial years of Cold War, then we witnessed that countries across the world are spending more and more on its military or in the defense sector. But I also told you that when Cold War ended, I mean when USSR was disintegrated, it came down up to 2.1%. I'm telling you the data of 1998 that it was around 2.1%. So, my dear friends, let me make it clear that we started gaining momentum. We started making profit in other sectors apart from military sector. But recently, what we are witnessing that the gain, that the profit that we made after the end of Cold War is now being eradicated, is now being eliminated just because of rising a number of wars, just because of rising conflicts all over the world. And what are these conflicts? Of course, Russia Ukraine war, Israel Gaza war, Israel Iran war, India Pakistan war, and many more. As per Global Peace Index, there are around 108 countries all across the world. It is the data I'm sharing you in relation to the year 2023 that it was concluded that around 108 countries all across the world are engaged in its military spending. If you look at Spain, if you look at Spain, then Spain is that country which spends around 1.2% or 1.24% of its GDP on its military. And it said that if NATO is going to increase its 2% to 5% aim of military spending, then the repercussion of this military spending will be enormous on rest of the countries across the world. And most important thing, if NATO is going to spend 5% only on its military, then other sectors will remain unnoticed. Of course, other sector will remain unnoticed. For an example, I love to make video, but if I invest all my expenditure, all my monthly expenses only on creating good content, then what will be happen in other sectors? For an example, how can I travel? How can I manage money for having food, for having good dresses, for having rest of the things? Definitely other sectors will be impacted if I am going to invest more and more in a single sector. So this is the thing that was said by Spain. Now what about the UN? You will be baffled to know that United Nations aimed to spend around $44 billion. But why? Just for the purpose of development of the world, peacekeeping of the world. Thirdly, humanitarian aid. So there are three purposes. This is the reason why United Nations targeted that it will spend around $44 billion. But what happened that it received only $6 billion from the members. This is the reason why it decided to reduce its aim from $44 billion to 29 billion. This is the baffling news that I'm sharing with you, that initially United Nations targeted to spend around $44 billion, but when it received only $6 billion from its members, then it reshifted its aim from $44 billion to $29 billion. So what does it indicate? It indicates that no country, very few countries are interested in giving aid to United Nations for the purpose of peacekeeping, humanitarian aid, and development of the world. Now, looking at India. So, India recently launched Operation Sindoor. Looking at the attack on Pahalgam, so when Operation Sindoor ended, post it, India India decided to spend 50,000 crore on its military. And looking at the annual budget of India, then India spends around 6.81 lakh crore rupees on military. And this is the annual data that I'm sharing with you. So 1.84% on health. It spends around 1.84% on health, but looking at military, you will find that it spends around 2.3%. Means the military expenditure of India is much higher as compared to health sector or education sector. Now, Mark Rutte, he is the Secretary General of NATO. He said that they are spending more just because to prevent war. But the data are showing, a number of data and information are showing that there is no any competitor of US. If you look at Russia, then it spends very low amount as compared to USA. Then what's the need to spend more and more? And again, conclusively, I would like to mention that if NATO is successful in spending 5% of its GDP on military, then definitely the repercussion of this move all across the world, I mean countries all across the world, start witnessing enormously. So these are the things that I wanted to share in relation to this particular topic. Thank you very much.